Hi and welcome everyone. This is 2 days ago in infrared, just before the bloody rain hit, of course. Didn't see anything of the launch yesterday. It was pouring down rain, and that's a quick shot of the probably Leonids meteor shower. Because all week, guys and gals, be checking. We're supposed to see some nice fireballs this week. That's what they're talking about in the news. So be watching. This is a UFO on the surface. They go by. They're hard to capture. And when I capture one, always very happy to show them. But on this channel, I captured some very, how can I say it? Some proof that there are lights around the UFOs. Now watch this in the background. The fact that they're lighting up the background proves that they really are close to the moon and that there are other UFOs on the surface. Look at these elements, let's call it. Looks like a heater or some filtration device. We have gases and hazes around what I call energy sources. It's not misinformation unless you say it's factual. This research is what I believe, but look what I'm showing you. Nothing you can say about straight lines on the surface. They're constructed, as is that one up there on top. Back over to the one on the bottom. Copernicus is just on the top left there, that white spot that you see. What do you think of square craters? Notice as a pattern in all my research, you always see those blurry hazes and patches all around the objects. I always find new things. Even recently, the capture of the amazing UFO, considering there are no UFOs in the sky, it's been a while, and I still caught that beautiful capture. And that's what it is. We do the research, and here's Sinus Iridum. Check it out. Isn't that incredible? Bianchini crater over to the right. So we do the research and we try to capture what's in the sky. I feel that something's coming. That's for sure. Have you ever really focused in on a crater? You know how everyone says, well, the craters really look like they all have the same depth. Well, they really all don't. But of course, with a cloud haze atmosphere or heavy dust, it really does give us the impression that the craters are all level. But look, they're not. Mare Fecunditatis is just on the bottom right here, and you can see over to the left and on the edge of the crater, of the moon, where the terminator line is, all the elevated objects, even the ones inside of the crater right there on the left. But it has a haze over top of it, and all I'm doing here is descending the exposure. Well, I was really anxious to show you all this one. You've seen it before, a similar shot. We're going to see it a lot more clear. Here it is in black and white, and the shot right before you saw it with a little bit of light, a yellow tint in it. Why? Because we want to see the surface to clarify it. That's all we're doing. Look at the hole on the Aristarchus Plateau, just on the corner of Aristarchus crater. So say to yourself, when you're looking at Aristarchus crater on other people's footage, even NASA's footage, you don't really see that small black hole there. Well, it's actually big, but you see it very, very small when people film it because Aristarchus is not usually filmed that close. And to go all out, when I move my big chest over to the left, you'll see that as we zoom in, there's no two ways about it. If we try to see the surface, it's very possible in the areas that don't have too much hazes and smokes. Then you get a clear night. Look, we can even see some of the lines on the Aristarchus Plateau on the surface. I mean, it's just a gray surface, right? All right, Hyperloop. Have you heard of the Hyperloop that Elon Musk talked about a couple of years ago? Well, it's a reality. In one of the pods, they had two people for the first time, public, join on a ride inside of the Hyperloop. Well, look at these lines that we see on the surface. This is construction on the moon, but those lines are 40, 50, 60 kilometers. So, hey, what's saying that they are not transportation to get to, area from area to area? 50, 60 kilometers is a long distance. It's from here to, on the other side of Montreal. I mean, if we were to get there in a supersonic way, like they just did, traveling at Mach 1, I think, or I don't know how fast they're going in the loop. Look at this, changing the subject, under the haze, right? We see that there is a cloud, right? I showed this in 2018. Look underneath the haze, we see stationary lights, and not just one, three stationary bright lights that appear, and also the cloud gets really thick when those lights illuminate. So what could it be? Is it to warn the coming UFOs to the surface so that they know how to land? Intelligent species or not, we obviously all are going to use lights and towers for communication, etc. Here's some more objects that are connected on the surface, and again, they are always under that darn haze. Here's an explosion, because we see a lot of lights on the moon, but they're not all UFOs, right? For example, we could tell by their characteristics and the way the events occur. Like, for example, here we'll see it live. See that? Wasn't much. A regular flash. But wow, look at that inside the circle. You see smoke. So probably a meteor or asteroid that hit the moon. We'll see it again. And when it hits, notice as it disappears, you'll see leftover smoke, a big enough patch of smoke on the surface. So that was something that hit, and the flash was about a mile wide that we saw on the surface, maybe 2 miles wide. And it was really quick, so I slowed it down so we can see it. But those are not the UFOs that are flying around, nor are they the stationary light points that I just showed you that are illuminating on the surface. The other day we were talking in the community, TR3Bs. I don't know if I've seen a TR3B, definitely not moving, but the black triangles like this that are perfect triangles, pretty big objects, makes you wonder when you see those on the surface. Shadows or not, right? Just sharing what I see. No two ways about it. This channel has shown many UFOs under clouds on the surface of the moon. What are some of the changes that we're going to see? We have also Russia talking about going to Venus and actually sending a man or woman, right, astronaut to the surface of the moon. Check this UFO out, right in the surface, in footage a couple of weeks back. The light is roaming over top of the surface. It seems very, very close to the surface. But again, you see the billowing light illuminating, not being able to show us the object itself. What do you think of this bridge-like object going to a large structure or anomaly? It's very, very long. It's hundreds of kilometers long. Ejecta doesn't go that long. And if you look around in my footage, look, those are straight lines. Like I just showed you up there on top, that was a bridge too, for sure. And look at everything else, how it connects, and it just looks like a constructed surface. It would be very interesting to see an archaeologist's point of view on the surface there. This one, love it. Jupiter. That's a UFO underneath Jupiter. In the video that I showed, a UFO approaching the bottom of Jupiter. It seemed like a large object, so what I had to do is descend the exposure. So listen, it's never easy to see a shape. We all saw what the Pentagon showed. You know, there's 3 declassified videos very recently that they showed of UFOs, which is not the big top thing, right? When you think of it, it's just, here's the exposure taken down. You see it's right close to Jupiter. Here I showed an object, a large object to the left of the sun, traveling slow enough, but obviously at the size it was, traveling fast enough. It was probably still very far from the sun, but it would be big as hell, excuse the expression, if we could see it. Here's what I love showing is that cloud. The cloud is going in front of the object and not behind the object, because sometimes the cameras get that refraction, right? But when you see that refraction, pink or blue, or pink or green light, you know it's refraction, but you could see through it. But this one, you really could not. You could see the clouds. So this is an airplane really coming close to a UFO, or crossing paths with a UFO. You understand that we don't know how close that plane is to the UFO, and they are just merely crossing their paths. Again, I'm not going to hide it, but something happens with this UFO, and the UFO seems to shoot out a light beaming towards the other airplane, towards the airplane. right here. There it is. And you saw it, but I'm going to slow it down so we can see it. I've showed it before, but not quite as close as this. It looks pretty cool. Again, I don't know what it's doing. An unknown object, a UFO in the bottom that only when that airplane went by seems to have, almost looks like it shot something out. But let me tell you, it could be that those UFOs are here watching us, They probably wouldn't want us to pollute this earth, now would they? I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting this channel. If it wasn't for my amazing community, this channel wouldn't even exist. Thanks a whole bunch, everyone. I really appreciate it. Slow disclosure is in progress. More information will be coming. A lot more.
This is Houston. Say again, please.